Do you believe in soulmates?
Oh, yes, I do. I do. I believe that there is one perfect person out there for everyone. And you know how you find him? You stop looking for him.
What's a soulmate?
It's, well, it's like a best friend, but more. It's the one person in the world who knows you better than anyone else.
You have bewitched me, body and soul, and I love, and love, and love you. I never wish to be parted from you from this day on.
Since the dawn of time, people have fallen in and out of love, growing and changing within these partnerships. For some, these connections were destined to happen. For others, relationships are an active choice. We wanted to ask leading scholars and experts what they thought about the term soulmate. But they didn't reply, so we asked the next best thing.
It means someone who you're connected with, not only physically, but spiritually.
You take precedence over all drama and all negativity. And it's not like a codependent. It's more of a, I got you as long as you got me, and we're going to balance this and work it out.
Someone who understands you unconditionally and understands you for your flaws and accepts you for your flaws, and they contribute something to your life that you didn't know that you needed.
I think he or she is my one and only.
You just, I don't know, you're on the same wavelength. You just like understand each other and like respect each other from the get-go, and it doesn't take a lot of effort for you guys to like learn about each other and like learn to love each other.
Mates are honestly more of like a platonic relationship. It's like a super important friend and like confidant that you could have your entire life, whereas a twin flame would be more of your soulmate on a romantic level that you would spend the rest of your life with.
I think you have this desire to not only want to spend time with them on this earth, but beyond that, beyond our lifetime.
Someone who is cosmically destined to be in your life, somebody who has been in your life before in whatever reincarnative cycle has existed.
I like to think of it as your spirit guide pulling you towards that person, or if you're not a spiritual person, like your intuition, your gut feeling, whatever.
A soulmate is like this mystical sort of person who you're instantly smitten by, right? And your relation, and who perfectly complements you, like the opposite half of like the opposite cycle of the moon. And I don't think that's true. I don't think like that person exists.
I think when people say that, when people talk about the soulmate, is they think of one person and they think that this one person is destined, or you're supposed to be together, or you're meant to be together. So I don't think that's the case.
And it automatically makes me think of like soulmate fan fictions, you know? Those ones where it'd be like the first word that your soulmate says to you is like tattooed on your body, which is just obviously not real.
We're bombarded with this over-exaggerated expectations of the way that we expect that we're supposed to fall in love. Like between Lifetime Movie Network and Hallmark and rom-coms and everything, we expect to find this perfect person who's going to fit what we're used to. And usually for our first relationship, our first serious relationship, it's like a culture shock, because this is a person who's not fitting everything that I need them to fit in.
I think it inhibits like growth. I think it inhibits experimentation. It inhibits like even looking past like your own experience as an individual or where you're from, and like self-reflection.
I think soulmate kind of implies that you're not complete, or you're not fully yourself without another person, and I definitely don't subscribe to that idea.
It makes me think back to the story, like a Greek sort of thing.
When Faith mentioned that she knew the Greek myth behind soulmates, I was ecstatic. But let me tell this particular story. The origins of soulmates and love can be found in mythology. As Plato put it in the Symposium, according to Greek mythology, humans were originally created with 4 arms, 4 legs, and a head with 2 faces. Fearing their power, Zeus split them into two separate parts, condemning them to spend their lives in search of their other halves, their soulmates. And according to the myth, when these two halves find each other, there will be a silent understanding of one another. They will feel joy and exist with each other in unison, and will know no greater joy than that.
That's devastating. That makes me so mad.
Why does this myth make you mad?
Because it's just, you're separating two people that obviously could make each other happy. And if you're talking about it in terms of soulmates, like, it's like their other half. And you're just like, nah. It's just like if I took your arm and I sliced it off and I'm like, go find it.
You're like just not like fully like if you have like you have to meet your soulmate and then you like become like your full soul, like complete. Yeah, complete.
We spend so much time together that it often feels like, you know, we are complementary parts.
Yeah, what do I think of the term other half? Yeah, maybe that's a better term than soulmates, because it implies just like, yeah. And I feel like some people might not like it because they're like, oh, I want to be my individual person. They feel like I've lost my sense of individuality since meeting you. But it's like, two men are able to hold a bigger boulder than one man by himself, so.
I think in terms of soulmates, it just kind of makes us believe that there's going to be someone out there who's going to fit us like the perfect puzzle piece. And it's a bit misleading.
I think of it like a puzzle piece. Like, yes, it fits in together, but I mean, there's still a chance of it breaking apart, but it doesn't mean that you can't match to another piece in the future if that doesn't work out.
I'm not looking for another half. I don't believe that that's true, that there is somebody else who completes who you are. I'm complete alone.
I think that's antiquated. And especially as a woman, I think that society would like you to feel that way, and it's not true. You don't need shit to feel whole. You just need you.
Like, I'm not looking for someone to complete me. No one should look for someone to complete them. Like, I'm not like running around gory and bloody. I'm not running around looking for that other half. No one split me from anything. I'm like on my own path of like growing and changing constantly.
I don't like to think of myself as missing something, that I'm a whole person. And I think that's where a little bit of my Christianity comes into play too, that, you know, God made us in his image, we're perfect, blah, blah, blah.
And I just don't get any sense from scripture that God's all that interested in who we marry. I think there are instances in scripture where a relationship was instrumental to the forwarding of what God was doing in a certain time and place, at least as interpreted by those people. But I don't believe that's universal. And I think it reduces the idea of Christianity to basically some sort of like mystical eHarmony.
We kind of create our own relationships, and if you want someone to be in your life, you have to put in effort to have that person remain in your life. And I don't think that that's unromantic or cynical or pessimistic. I think that that is something nice, that you can have anyone that you want in your life. You don't have to wait around for the universe to give you someone. If you meet someone and you think, I'm attracted to you, or I want to be your friend, then you can do that. You can create and foster your own relationships.
So now that we have the basic layout of soulmates, I once again pose the question from the beginning of this film.
Do you believe in soulmates?
So if you believe in soulmates, you're called the destiny believers, the destiny mindset. And so that means you believe that one person is meant for you. You have this kind of fate that you're meant to meet this one person. The other group is the growth mindset. So the growth believers think that, you know, we grow together, people change, relationships can change. There's more than one person for you.
Do I believe in soulmates? I do not believe in soulmates.
I do believe in soulmates.
No, I do not believe in soulmates.
So I do believe in soulmates.
Yes, I do believe that there is such thing as a soulmate. I feel that we come across these people in our life that we bond with them spiritually, we bond with them intellectually, and our personalities just kind of have a nice little merge together.
I do believe in soulmates, and I think that I may have met a few of them already.
I do. I really do. And I feel like my husband and I were soulmates because we were friends first, and we learned about each other, what we had in common.
I'm pretty convinced that there are soulmates.
I think you can like be in love with someone and like them, but I feel it's kind of rare to find the person who's exactly perfect for you.
No, I don't believe in soulmates.
So your soulmate is just constantly changing as well, if that is a real concept. I don't know. It's just something that like it's for me it's a sign of a definitive endpoint of something that should never really have an endpoint.
I don't believe in soulmates because I think I have this idea that soulmates are people you're destined to be with from the start.
Do you think you've met your soulmate?
I believe I've met one of my soulmates already, but I do believe that I'm going to meet more in my lifetime.
And it is embarrassing to say that I truly do feel something that it's so inexplainable, God. It feels just right.
I do believe I have met my soulmate, and the reason why I believe I have is because the amount of trust and honesty that I have been able to really have on this person, whether it be towards anything in my life, or any of my experiences, any of my fears, any of my dislikes. I've never felt any pressure to not tell them.
Personally, at one point, like I had like a significant other, which I, for the longest time, I did believe they were my soulmate, which they happen not to be, but that's okay.
I don't think anyone could ever come close to what you are to me.
And I you, but I don't think it's this like sort of mystical or mythical sort of connection that we have. It's very real.
It all seems like way too long. It's been a decade together, and we've known each other for at least 12 years, and best decision I ever made.
So he knocked on the door, and we sat out in the yard and talked all night long, just about various things, and learned more about each other, about our families and our friends and our past relationships. And I think that really helped us become more soulmates because we had so many things that we shared in common that we very rarely argued. And we always discussed everything with each other.
How did you find your partner? Was it some sort of act of God?
When I was younger, I visited a psychic, and that was interesting. And she told me that I had already met my soulmate by the age 14, that I had already met him. Well, not him, but them. And that they kind of detailed my relationships of, when you're 16, you're going to be madly in love with somebody. It's not going to be right. 18, the same thing's going to happen. You're going to think that they're meant for you, but it's not going to be as perfect as you think. And those were absolutely true, which is weird.
I will always love you. I will always love you. How I do. I let go of.
I wanted to test this out myself and went to the leading supplier of psychic information, Etsy, where I found dozens of psychics willing to draw my soulmate for me. I don't know how accurate it is, but if you look like this, let me know. Okay, you found your partner. According to The Art of Loving by Eric Fromm, that's the easy part. How do you maintain a healthy relationship?
I heard someone in a podcast say, it was like someone's aunt saying, the way you don't get a divorce, just don't get a divorce.
Don't buy into the hype. Don't go out looking for rainbows and butterflies. Go out looking for the person that makes you feel like you're important enough to be their soulmate.
He told us that the idea that in marriage two people become one is a bad image. And it's really two people becoming three. And so what happens is you've got two individuals and then they create a third thing. And that third thing is the marriage. And that's, he said, what you have to nurture. He said that's where your children will live. They live within the marriage. And he said, sometimes what's best for either individual is not what's best for that third thing, for the marriage. And so we've really found that to be quite true over the course of our lives together. And certainly the idea, we have two children and they're, getting older now, they're 15 and 12. So they very much have lived inside that marriage. And the health of our marriage directly correlates, we believe, to their health.
Forgiveness is key. It's one of those things where you're both gonna fall and you're gonna hit hard spots and you're gonna have bad days where you can't get up out of bed, or maybe you have depression or anxiety or whatever, or some kind of mental or physical illness, and one's got to pick up for the slack for the other. And that's something that you got to remember whenever you're married is it's not just you, it's you, your partner, and whoever you've brought into this world.
I will say this, when you marry somebody, you're in love with them, but you don't always stay in love with them, I guess, as the years go, but you always love them. Mm-hmm. And I told my husband too, I said, sometimes I don't always like you, but I always love you.
But the world's so big and chaotic. Can a person really only have one soulmate?
I do think that there are multiple soulmates. I think that your soulmate changes based on what you need in that time in your life. And I think first, you're your own soulmate too,
I do believe once you have found that soulmate, especially in the context of a spouse, you will never find another one. No one that will truly fulfill you the way that soulmate did.
Oh, there's kind of that idea if you had such a thing, because relationships are work, right? If you had such a big thing that you couldn't work to fix it, then you were never soulmates. You were never good enough fit that it was gonna last, and you were probably overlooking it or something.
I don't know, I think people can come and go out of your life pretty easily, so.
If you enjoy the fact that in a world that is big and scary and full of so much dread and lack of hope, the idea that there's somebody out there who's perfect for you exists, makes you feel good, then go for it. But I would encourage you to maybe even consider that there's more than one, or that there's multiple people at the same time that could be it. Because just restricting yourself to one person and most likely to one experience, because most people, when they imagine who their perfect person is, it's only dedicated to what you know. If you grew up in a white suburban town with no other people in it besides white folk, you're probably not thinking my soulmate's probably a nice Muslim woman that shares all my common interests. You're probably not thinking something like that. So open your mind to all possible experiences and all possible people, and you'll probably find yourself much happier than you ever even could have dreamed of being.
You can be with one person, but they can never hold you the way your person would. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's the way I see it. I believe that, and that's kind of how my idea is that people are made to fit together. We're made to mold and to you have that missing part of you always until you find them. And it's one of the most beautiful things ever whenever you do. It's something else. That's all I can say. I apologize. I love that man so much, you don't even know it.
I mean, yeah, I guess. If you like more than one person, sure, live your life. Do you.
That could be friends. I've had some friends that as soon as I met them, I knew that we were supposed to be in each other's lives and that we would be forever, that we would care for each other forever. And then romantically, I think you can have more than one person that you're attracted to that way.
I don't know, I think like people can come and go out of your life pretty easily, so.
And so, like, I think we can broaden that idea of a soulmate being friends, family, parent, guardian, sibling, children, anything like that.
There's nothing wrong with calling them your soulmate because it's cute. But if he were to exit my life, I would know that there's another guy that's right for me out there in the world, and that he wasn't the one and only. The ocean is not yet empty. There's still many fish in the sea, and I wouldn't let the idea of soulmate just keep bogging me down.
For everyone who's single, just lost their soulmate, or are absolutely terrified of everything we've been discussing so far, do you need a soulmate to be happy?
I don't think that you need a soulmate to be happy, because truly happy people, I think, find their happiness within themselves and can spread that happiness through their relationships. Obviously, we all need human connection, but I don't think you need to feel like this is my one person and everything I do is reliant on this one person.
I don't think that you necessarily need a soulmate or soulmates to be happy, but I say that my soulmates are a big contributor to my happiness.
Than others, and I think that there are people who will make your life better, like will make, you will thrive with those people and they will enhance your best qualities, and that to me feels very soulmate-esque. But I don't think that you need a soulmate to get by on your own.
I don't think people need a soulmate to be happy, but I definitely think that they have an impact on the way you live, the way you proceed with life, and the way that you enjoy life.
But in the truth of it is, he saved me, and because of his love, of course, but his support and encouragement, I became a much better person because of it, and a stronger person.
Not at all. I don't think a person needs to have a soulmate in order to be happy.
Not to quote the Bible or anything, but there's this one verse, I have learned whatsoever state I am in therewith to be content. So I am not a Bible scholar. I just went to Bible school, but it's different levels of contentment that gives you that security that you feel enough to believe that you have that or don't have that one.
If that person is me and the soulmate is you, then of course. But I don't think I don't think an individual necessarily needs a soulmate to be happy.
I think if you have the social skills, you can be happy. But if you don't have the social skills to have friends, then you better find your soulmate to.
If you're able to reach self-actualization.
I don't think it's ever good to put all of your happiness into one person. I mean, I'm sure we all know somebody in our family or our friends who's been single forever and they love it. So, no, I don't think it's necessary to have a soulmate to be happy. There are plenty of things in your life that can make you happy.
I don't think a person needs a soulmate to be happy, because I feel like a lot of my happiness comes from myself, but also I'm very independent. I don't really depend on other people for my happiness. So I have my own goals and my aspirations. So I don't think a person needs a soulmate to be happy if you just have yourself.
In a world with 7 billion people, you're never alone. There's always somebody out there that you can connect with.